What's good, everybody, and welcome to another video. I'm Lawrence o Lorenzo, y today, man, I'm super excited, man. Estoy bien emocionado porque hoy es mi video de mi historia, bueno, mi historia de fondo de cómo aprendí español in menos que un año. How did I learn Spanish? How did I learn to become fluent in Spanish in less than a year? So before we get started, make sure you guys like, subscribe, man, because I got a lot of good things on the way. If you see anything you like, hit that thumbs up. If you see anything that you, if you have any advice, if you have any comments, if you have anything, man, please drop them in the comments. I would love, I'm still learning, so I would love to get your feedback. I got a whole bunch of notes here because I want to make sure I stay on topic. Otherwise, I will rant. ¿Está lista? ¿Está listo? Bueno, comenzamos. Cuando era joven, estudié el español con frecuencia. Estudié español durante 2 años en escuela intermedia, como 3 años en, 3 años en escuela intermedia, 3 años en escuela secundaria y 2 años en la universidad. Entonces ya tuve 8 años de experiencia antes yo intenté ser fluido. Pero mi última clase de español sucedió en 2013. Entonces hubo como 10 años entre mi última clase y ahora mismo, ¿sabes? Entonces, intenté hablar con fluidez después colegio, pero no me sirvió. Y dejé el español hasta 2022, cuando yo estaba trabajando con un equipo de béisbol acá en Carolina del Norte. Y hubo un montón de jugadores de países hablo españoles y siempre hangueaba en el fin del dugout, y ellos siempre hicieron chistes, bromas, y they had the time of their life. Muchos pedazos, tú sabes, muchos pedazos, pero me fascinaban. Me fascinaban, y bueno, yo quería saber, ¿entiendes? Entonces, bueno, hice mi meta de 2023 a aprender español, y entonces empecé a aprender español de nuevo en enero de 2023 y febrero de 2024, y bueno, ahora hablo lo suficientemente bueno para mí, pero esto, basically how I got started, and I'm gonna speak this part in English so that way my English speaking people can understand me. I hope that I am giving you guys some motivation or encouragement to start your own journey. But basically how I got started, the first thing I did in January of 2023 was I started to translate my life. So just the basic things, simple, break it down, simple things that I did. Como voy a trabajo, or, I go to work, or yo tomo fotos de juegos, I take photos of the games. Soy un dueño de una revista, I own a magazine. Tengo de perro llamado Jack y Jill. I got 2 dogs named Jack and Jill. You know what I mean? So I needed to learn how to translate my life first before I got to the point of like figuring out everything else. Plus, I already had a solid foundation. So I felt pretty good. About being able to do that. Now, however, I did that for maybe 2 weeks, and about halfway through January, I was like, I just needed a little bit more structure, a little bit more discipline. So I tried to pick up an app that would help me learn. I saw a lot of people that had Duolingo learn streaks, and I wanted that too, honestly. So I swear I just chose Duolingo. There's a lot of good ones, man. You got Babbel, Duolingo, Rosetta Stone, Lingo, Dear. It's a lot of good ones. A lot of Spanish dictionary. It's a lot of good ones. I just picked up Duolingo because it was easy to use. It seems very fun. It's like a lot of games and stuff you can play, or a lot of different ways you can learn, and also you get a learn streak. My learn streak is now at like 380 days or something like that. So I'm like, I'm excited. I felt like Duolingo really helped me learn how to form sentences, because I already knew some sentences, whether it was from back in the day, studying Spanish and kind of learning the slight basics, but it kind of left my mind, or I learned how to formulate new sentences again, so that way the things that I already previously learned, I could kind of reuse and repackage in different situations to talk or explain myself. And so did that until about March of 2023, and that's when I started using language exchange to start helping me out. I went with the italki app at first just because there's people who are offering help learning their language for super cheap. So for example, you could get somebody to teach you for an hour or to work with you for an hour for maybe like $5. So it's super cheap, super effective. You could get you a package and maybe instead of doing like one session with $5, you do like a session of 10 for like $30. You know what I mean? And so super effective. For me, I got a tutor. Her name was Lucia. Espérate. Lucia. No estoy seguro si tú vas a ver este video, pero gracias por todo. Tú eres perfecta. Bueno, permíteme hablar un poco de Lucia. Lucia es perfecta, Lucia es muy simpática, tiene mucha paciencia conmigo. Ella fue perfecta para lo que necesite. Entonces, pero sí, gracias por todo, Lucia. Te amo. en verdad, y bueno, voy a regresar a ti, ¿ok? Bueno, yeah, I used italki. That was really super effective. One thing that Lucia really got on me about was conjugations. I felt like I didn't really take conjugations as seriously, and she kind of made me like hammer on that. She would hablar un poco mierda, bueno, más que un poco, pero I'm a highly competitive person, so I kind of needed that talk, you know what I mean? I needed somebody to say like, oh, you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna, because yeah, we would meet every Tuesday, Thursday from like maybe like 1 to 2:30, something like that. And every day she would, like Tuesday we would go over like the conjugations, and Thursday she would give me something to study over the weekend. She'd be like, I bet you won't learn it by Tuesday. And I'm like, shit, all right, bet. So I had to learn by Tuesday, you see what I'm saying? Gang. And so then basically like 2 months, I learned basically most of all the conjugations. Like I said, I had a previous experience with past, present, and a little bit of imperfect, but everything else was weird to me. So yeah, it really helped. I swear it really helped. Also, italki, use that to get your personalized, and so if you're working on something and you have a struggle, find somebody on italki that can help you. I promise you, that's gonna be your best bet. Once you hit your frustration point, find somebody on italki. I promise you that is where you'll relieve that frustration. Trust me. Once I started to work on things and get a solid base, I started using the app Tandem. Now, this is another language exchange app. There's a lot of different exchange apps that you can talk to people. Omegle TV or whatever. It's a lot of them. But however, I use Tandem because you can use it either in a 1v1 setting. So if you're new and you just want to practice with one person, you can find somebody that's a Spanish speaking person that's learning English, and then you talk English to them. you talk Spanish to them, they reply in English to you, and that way you guys have a conversation back and forth. I feel like that's a really good way to kind of help you out. Once you get a better understanding, you can start hopping into parties and talking with a group of people and being in more of a group setting. So whatever one you're more comfortable with, go for it. I think that the biggest thing that you need is comprehensible input. I feel like no matter how well you speak Spanish, you need to be able to understand what the next person is saying to you, so that way you can speak Spanish back to them. So for me, comprehensible input needs to be, and I don't know what the definition is. I will try to put a definition here or something like that on screen. But to me, comprehensible input is just things that you need to watch, listen, and that you understand the gist of what's going on. So you might not understand, you might only understand maybe 50, 60%, but you can follow what's going on. And I think that's what you need to start out. While you're in that beginner stage, now what I personally did and what I recommend is to watch baby shows, shows for kids, because like, for example, you might not exactly know what's going on, but one thing you could do is, like for example, I use that to learn like my body parts, like cabeza, hombros, rodillas, pies.
Cabeza, hombros, rodillas y pies, rodillas y pies. Cabeza, hombros, rodillas y pies, rodillas y pies, y ojos y orejas y boca y nariz. Cabeza, hombros, rodillas y pies, rodillas y pies.
Cabeza, hombros, rodillas, pies. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, you know what I mean? And so as you start listening to nursery rhymes, you'll start to pick those up. You'll start to slowly but surely make that connection from your childhood to the childhood things you're learning, and you'll start to pick that little confidence. I promise you, learning row your boat, head, shoulder, knees, and toes, you know, this, that, and the third, that will start to snowball your confidence. I'm talking about that'll be a small victory that will become bigger in the long run. That really will help. As you start to understand more and more things, you start to want to watch and listen to more and more things and read more and more things. Simple story, you can find simple stories on YouTube. There's a lot of people that have simple stories that are for beginners. Those kind of things are going to be really good to kind of help you train your ear of like how Spanish is, because Spanish is a little bit faster. It's a lot of different sounds, and so to train your ear, you got to be able to hear that at a slow pace. Go slow, 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 and then ramp it up to you at a level that you can understand native Spanish speakers. Through all of this, you should be reading out loud. I feel like reading out loud is going to be your best bet of how to understand how the language is. Reading is going to help you learn how to form sentences, how words are used is going to give you words in context, and reading it out loud is also going to help you be able to pronunciate at a better level, so that way whenever you're talking, people will understand you more. Another advice that, if you want help with pronunciation, I know I'm off topic here, but if you wanted another advice with pronunciation, talk with a pencil in your mouth. Get used to saying things. Hola, soy Lorenzo. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. ¿Y tú? See, you know, todo eso. You should be able to talk and pronunciate with a pencil in your mouth. All right, put it right in front of your teeth and just continue to talk. Learn how to use your mouth. If you want to be really advanced, stick your front and the back, and you can do it like this. Hola, soy Lorenzo. Hola, soy Lorenzo. Hola, soy Lorenzo. Hola, soy Lorenzo. Okay, you should be able to talk with that pencil in your mouth. That's just a way to practice how to pronunciate a little bit more effectively. Next, after you get there and you're kind of able to understand the simple stories, the baby shows, you want to move to things you can talk about for days. So for me, I'm around sports. So this will be something like sports, basketball, whatever. I do MMA. So whether it's about fighting or whatever, I can do that. Whether it's video games or something like that, I can understand. So those are things that I would be watching a lot more, and that way understanding how people describe things, how do they talk, how do they use words effectively. And so because it's just about something that I know and I can talk about on an extensive basis, I can watch these things. But say if I was going to watch something like a news show, like a news cast at 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, or maybe something like a Netflix series or something like that. People always say you can learn with Netflix. If you go that route, use English subtitles. Everybody says, no, watch Spanish shows with Spanish subtitles. Bullshit. Bullshit. All right, that's bullshit. Watch with English, because you need to be able to understand what it is that they're saying. You need to understand when they're making a joke. You need to understand what it sounds like. You need to understand the gist, so that way if they laugh, you can laugh with them because you're reading in English. Now, here's the thing. You got to be able to understand what it is that they're talking about, and then, you know, say it's something that you would normally say or something that you want to learn. Rewind the video back 10, 20, 30 seconds, and then see how they're saying it in Spanish. Although you can perfectly read it in English, escucha bien, okay? Listen very carefully and listen and see how they're saying it, all right? I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing. And then once you kind of get to that point, start talking out loud. Get on your voice recorder and talk about, hey, like, you're at Target. Estoy en Target. Estoy buscando loción y pasta de los dientes y también necesito pollo y un caja de confle or algo así. You know what I mean? And talk to yourself. You see what I mean? And as you start doing that, so estoy en trabajo, estoy en mi oficina, estoy en una reunión. Whatever you do at work, whatever, you should be able to talk about that on a regular basis. So get used to doing that, whether it's to yourself, you make a vlog, whatever. The self-talk is going to help you be able to speak once you get to that intermediate level. And it'll help you to start to think in Spanish, which is really going to be beneficial in the long run, but I'm not going to talk about that on this video. But once you get to that point where you can think in Spanish, that's where things will become super easy. Now, al principio es muy fácil de decir, pero es bien difícil de hacer. So, it's very easy to say, but it's hard to do. And that self-talk will really start to kind of form that process. For me, and I'll make a longer video on this, but for me, what I had to do is kind of think about 2 or 3 things or sentences I would say if I'm in the mood of, I'm saying hello to somebody, if I'm happy, if I'm sad, if I'm upset or pissed off, common questions I ask, and then goodbye. If you could think about 2 to 3 things that you say in those situations, for the most part, you should be able to start to think in Spanish, you know, basically. You won't be in-depth thoughts like you might have, but it'll be basic thoughts, and that will start to snowball as you'll see it'll start to snowball. Small wins snowball into big victories. You see what I'm saying? Like, you think about war. This little battle might help you win the war later on. So it's super effective to self-talk and think in Spanish. Last advice I'll say, man, when in doubt, translate it out. I feel like once I got past that intermediate stage, I use my translator for everything. So if it was something that I use my translator for everything throughout the whole process, but I felt like I used it a lot more as I started speaking more Spanish, because I always want to know, ¿cómo se dice en español? ¿Cómo se dice en español? ¿Cómo digo eso en español? I always want to know, how do I say this in Spanish? How do I say this in Spanish? How do I say this in Spanish? How do y'all say it in Spanish? And so as soon as I would think of something in English, I immediately try to figure out how to translate it in Spanish. I don't even waste any time. Translator might not necessarily translate everything correctly, so you do have to be aware of that. But for the most part, you'll start to understand the gist of what you're trying to say. And as you start to use that word, you might fail a little bit and you might get corrected, and then now you know how to use it in a correct sentence. And so use your translator as often as possible. The translator is going to be not your best bet, but the translator is going to be your best friend through this whole process. If you think about something and you want to know how to say it in Spanish, don't waste no time. Straight to the phone, boom. Siri, how do I say boom? You know what I mean? Whoever, how do I say boom? You know, and get used to that. Do not make learning fun for you. You know what I mean? So as soon as you think about something, if you want to learn it, boom, figure it out. The last thing I'll say, man, just be comfortable, have fun with this. It's a super fun journey. Here in America, Spanish is the second most spoken language. I think there's roughly 40 or 45% of the country of our country that is speaking Spanish. Viví en Puerto Rico durante 3 meses, trabajando fotografía. Y bueno, I also learned a little bit of Spanish, like living there and just being able to interact with people every day. But like travel to Spanish-speaking places, travel to other places and see how they talk, how they live, how they experience things, how they react to things. And yeah, also you'll need to pick an accent, but I'm not gonna go into that video. I'm not gonna go into that in this video. I'll save it for another video. But guys, basically start early. Make the journey about yourself. Don't learn Spanish because you want to learn what people over here are talking shit about. Don't learn Spanish because, you know, that's all that is extrinsic. It's all an outer locus. That's all things that are controlled by the outside. You want to have something that drives you every day to learn. So it needs to be something that fuels you positively, okay? That's what I will leave you guys with in this video. Once again, man, if there's anything that you liked, saw, anything that any advice, anything, man, leave me a comment, man. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Los aprecio, full. I really do appreciate you guys. And hasta la próxima. Nos vemos.
Cabeza, hombros, rodillas y pies, rodillas y pies. Cabeza, hombros, rodillas y pies, rodillas y pies, y ojos y orejas y boca y nariz. Cabeza, hombros, rodillas y pies, rodillas y pies.